Squadron matches your enthusiasm. I've got a job for you if you're looking to keep busy. Here are the details.
And good afternoon. This is Griffin Gaming RPG, and welcome to Soul Voices. Yes, it is Saturday afternoon. Today's a little bit of a different day. Fastcart, good to see you. Fist to Face, I know you're out there. Jock Cop, thank you for being here as well. Yeah, it's good to be here live, dude. You know, some of you know that we've been doing some adjustments over the past week. We've kind of moved some times around for us that we think are maybe a little bit more convenient for you, the viewer. Not having to wake up our West Coast people so early in the morning. And so, as you guys know, today we started at 3 p.m. Eastern time. We were starting at 1 p.m. Eastern before, which was 12 noon for me. But it seems like this might be a better slot, so we're going to see how it goes. But hopefully we're getting some of our people over in the UK and Germany and on the other side of the globe that are able to participate in our conversation, as well as not having to wake up our Pacific Coast people at like early in the morning on a Saturday because that they can come in and watch us. So today we're going to be continuing on with our normal format for Soul Voices. As many of you know, this is our community show that allows you, the viewer, to come in and talk with us. On Thursdays, we do a similar show, but it's more of a round table where there's a group of people in our Discord. But on this show, it's a one-on-one. You can come in and talk to me. Normally we have a co-host with us. We were supposed to have, some of you remember last week I announced that Uber Nerd was going to be here, but Uber Nerd had to work today, and so we lost him. So it's going to kind of be a solo show. So I'm going to be counting on you guys to come in and keep me occupied so that you just don't have to listen to me talk for the next hour and a half. But we've got some cool topics that we're going to be talking about. I know we're all really excited. This is Invictus Week. Invictus launch week started on yesterday. And many of you got a chance to get into Star Citizen, got to go over to the showroom, checking out Anvil Aerospace. They're the ones kicking off everything. It was interesting. You know, I went over there, took a look. Of course, there was nothing that we wanted to see, right? I know everybody's like eager to see the Legionnaire, the new ship. Even that went on sale on yesterday as well, Thursday for Concierge and for everybody else on Friday. But they did have holograms downstairs. There was a hologram of the Crucible, hologram of the Liberator, and a hologram of the Legionnaire. All the other ships in the showroom are the things that we're all used to seeing. But the cool thing is if you don't own any of those ships, you get a chance to rent them out. And yeah, try them out and see if you want to buy one. This is Military Ship Week. So for those of you who are into the whole combat military thing, you are slobbering. This is your time to check out things. Malkari, welcome. Good to see you. Pops, good to see you as well. Thank you guys so much for being here this afternoon. Yeah, so let's jump into it. As you guys know, normally when we do this format, we take topics from Spectrum, we take topics from Reddit and industry topics, raise them up, have a conversation about them, and get your thoughts and feedback on what's being said, especially in relation to Star Citizen. And we're starting out as usual with Spectrum. And it's interesting, this particular one, most of the time I pull these from the concerns category in general. This particular one, it came out of concerns by someone by the name of Hammy, Hammy. And their statement was, Anvil Legionnaire role protection. That was the topic here. Let me see, do I have that up as a queue? I think I do. Oh, you know what? We didn't change screens. That would be the thing. I have to change to the question and answer screen. There we go. Yeah, the Anvil Legionnaire roll protection. And what I'll do is as I read this, you guys can give me your feedback. And again, if you want to come in and talk to me about the topic, you can, and you can hear my thoughts as well. This was called Anvil Legionnaire roll protection. And they said, real talk. I like this ship and all to a degree, but is CIG going to enforce heavy roll protection for this ship the way they do every other single purpose ship? And I do mean single purpose. This thing has no versatility to speak of. The hoplite is relatively similar in role, but it can drop the kids off at school and then decide, hey, I'm a completely viable dogfighter too, and join in the fray instead of just saying, well, I've done that all I can do and leaving. Anywho, so how about that role protection? The only thing this ship can do is boarding actions. Does that also mean that it's the only ship that can do hostile boarding actions? Maybe you do or do not remember a certain MIA docking collar on the Cuddy Black for this exact same purpose? Does this mean that even if we fully disable a ship and try to board, they can just go laughing my ass off, nah, if we don't have a Legionnaire? This is a real question that needs to be answered before we get ship-to-ship docking. So this person is asking about, he doesn't say what other ships he's referring to other than the hoplite, but he does look at this ship as being very specialized, that it has one thing that it can do. And the question is that the case? I'd be really curious to know what you guys think about that. I've got Pops in space in chat. I'm going to bring Pops in and welcome him, and we're going to get his thoughts on this, and then he and I'll talk a little bit, and we'll bring the next person in. Pops, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, man, how are you?
Okay, fine.
Good. So what do you think about this? This idea of role protection. Some people have looked at the Legionnaire, and some people decided not to buy it, right, for various reasons, right? Some people like, I got too many ships. Some people are like, I don't see myself doing this type of thing. Some people, like Hammy here says, it has in his mind one specific role. What thoughts do you have about it?
Well, knowing CIG, we all knew mining. Let's put mining back 9 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
They have expanded mining far beyond what we've ever thought it was going to be. They've added handheld gadgets, all kind of consumables and things. So I wouldn't count CIG out as far as keeping this ship narrow as it is presented today. And a couple of things. One thing I don't know about is ship-to-ship docking. I've never come across that. I don't know how it would be done, but I would believe that this ship here would also be a good transport between ships. If you're,
Okay, so you're seeing it more than just being like in a piracy role. You're saying that it could be used for ship-to-ship docking, right? From 2 ships out in space, right? There's no station around, right? And maybe you need to move some crew people, something like that.
Right, exactly. Okay. If one ship has someone on it, and you could bring supplies back and forth between ships. If they need pizza, you could pizza delivery.
That'd be interesting, a pizza delivery ship. That would be kind of cool, right?
Yeah. So, you could think of all kind of things to use the ship for. You just have to become a little bit more out of the box. Some people are really good at thinking like that, out of the box on things.
It's interesting you would say that, Pops, because one of the ships that comes to mind that we already have in game right now, and this has been a problem. I don't think I've heard anybody mention this as an issue. People who own a Carrack quite often keep a snub or another ship inside of it. And when that's the case, if you wanted to come to that ship, you can't get in there. It's full, right? 890 jump. If you've got a couple ships already in the hangar, it's full. How do you get people onto your ship? Now, we've done it the crazy way, right? Where people go out in EVA and fall and flop on the deck and, hope you don't bleed out to get inside. But like you said, this ship could be, it doesn't have to be considered, I guess what I'm saying, something along the lines of combat, right? It could have a very, even a civilian use to a certain degree, right?
Exactly.
Even though it is tricked out for combat, we kind of get that because of all the stealth and all the other things that are built into it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Did you buy
You
one?
could, no, I didn't. But you're exactly right. You could use it as a party transport.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they had a skin or maybe a white skin to match,
Something a little cooler.
yeah, something a little cooler. It would absolutely fit. It would
Okay.
absolutely fit as a party transport to the 890.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
certainly.
All right. Well, awesome,
Okay.
Pops. Thanks for sharing that, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
All righty. Next up, we've got FC. Fast Card is here. Hey, FC. How are you, man?
Hey.
Good. Yeah, you got any thoughts on this?
Yeah. Yeah. So this person is complaining it might be it might not have it too specialized. Well, my argument is it is a $100 ship compared to the Cutlass Steel or the other drop ship. It is more specialized. But typically, someone I think it was on Thursday or maybe yesterday we were talking about this. It may not be suitable for atmosphere drops. Or maybe the community will decide that yes, it's perfectly fine for atmosphere drops the way it is. So we don't know. But yeah, his argument, I can see where it's coming from, but it is only $100 ship compared to the other drop ships.
Yeah. You look at what a hoplite is got to be any of the Vanguards are 200 and up. I think they're all in the 200 category, right? All of them.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, the Valkyrie's running 280, 85, something like that, maybe 290 now. There is a huge discounted price. I think you and I even talked about. I was kind of surprised about that. This was the price point because I thought it would have been more like 180, maybe, closer to 200. Particularly because
this is out of my game style, so I wasn't even thinking about the price. But I was surprised that it was. I would think if I would have guessed, I might have guessed 150.
Yeah. I mean, considering it carries, it's an 8-person carrier too, right? 8 people.
Right.
You mentioned the Steel, which carries 16, the Valkyrie, which carries 20, and it doesn't include crew, right? That's just the amount of people that you can carry to get where you're going. When you man this, I think there's a pilot and a co-pilot in here, so that brings the complement up to 10 on this. A Cutlass Steel brings the complement with gunners, 3, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 people in a Steel, and a Valkyrie is 26 people, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, when you look at how many people you can carry, it is special. The other thing too, though, is that if I'm remembering from the concept art, it's not just this as a front, way to get in through docking collar, but there is a ramp in the back for like a dropship too. You know what I mean?
So it could be fine for atmosphere dropping, but I think it's more suited for. I mean, people are arguing it's more suited for space ship or ship to station.
Yeah, and I guess what I'm saying is that it offers both, where the Valk doesn't do that, neither does the hoplite. You know what I mean? The Valk doesn't allow you ship-to-ship boarding, is what I'm saying.
Oh,
you know what I mean? All you can do
Yeah.
is it's designed for land combat. Hoplite, same thing. I do appreciate the fact he says the hoplite, you can drop some people off and then you can go do some dog fighting, which is true. But again, is this ship really a one role as he isolates it down? I think the role is specialized, but I don't think it's just one role. Yeah. I think it can be bigger than that. Now, thanks for mentioning that price point too, because I didn't think about that in comparison to the other ships that he's mentioning, and that does make a big difference. That's good stuff. Okay, thanks,
No
FC.
problem.
Appreciate it, bro.
No problem.
Alrighty. Face to face. We're gonna bring him in next. I do want to mention one other thing before I bring him in. He says it has no versatility. I think Fast Cart just said this the other day. We kind of expanded the conversation about the ship and kind of felt that, wait a minute, there are some things that this ship can do other than just the stealth combat aspects of it. But I'll let Fist come in and he can talk about it, and then we'll go from there to the next one. Fist, you there?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how are you, man?
All right, hanging in there.
Good. You got some thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'm gonna say this though. One of the things I've kind of learned in playing this game, Star Citizen, and is that even though a ship is we put a name to the ship as it's put into a box, you can't really put it into a box. Players, find uses for the different uses for the ship, than we even imagine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, because right now, we are in this sandbox, situation, and we're finding ourselves having to, come up with, gameplay and other things like that, and find creative uses for ships. So I get it that the Anvil Legionnaire is, sometimes it's marketed as something, but you yourself, just playing the game and being around other people who play the game, you can find other uses for the ship. And key word is imagination.
Yeah. That's good. Because a lot of the even though, like you said, CIG may outline some things, the player base might see some things even bigger. Right.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Don't limit a ship, to what you see on, I guess you could say, the box. Like you know what I'm saying. So
yeah. Let me ask you this. On what you're just saying, there were some things that people have not talked about that we haven't seen in the game yet, right? Like they talked about it having some type of stealth capability, some type of weird shielding capability. I mean, is it possible that they're going to do something with this ship that, for example, right? They had one of the images showed the ship coming up on the rear of a javelin. Now, I don't know whether they were doing that because they were bringing crew or whether they were there because they were sneaking up on it. I don't know which one. But do you think that they could create something about this ship that makes it where you turn on something in the ship, right? That, for lack of a better term, changes its signature so that its signature is not as obvious, or that temporarily, like a cloak almost, you know what I mean? Temporarily, you've only got like 30 seconds. You got to get in with this thing. You know what I mean? Otherwise your signature picks up. I mean, could CIG maybe come up with something that, because I'm curious about what's so stealthy. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a much smaller ship than the Valk, right? So we get it size-wise, detecting and everything. But you still got to be able to roll up on that ship. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, you kind of bring out a point, which is cool. I mean, because it's a game. Number one, it's a game, and obviously the developers can put something in here into the game, with the functionality of that ship to be able to do something. And it could be right. Obviously, we've talked about this before, and that cloaking, as far as like invincibility, won't be in the game, but something to the point of stealth, yes, can be a good factor where, hey, this ship is something, I'm creeping up on this ship and it cannot see me, or maybe the ship mimics a signature of one of your other ships that you may have. Oh, okay, yeah, he may have it. It may have the ability to do that.
That'd be cool.
I mean, you never know.
Yeah, it puts out a different signature,
possible.
right? Yeah, they could, right?
Because I mean, it could scan maybe a ship that's within your fleet
and mimic it.
And say, oh, okay, well, I recognize, because not just only you're recognizing, okay, that what type of ship it is, but maybe it might steal or mimic the name of that ship. That's within your fleet. And you might say, okay, well, I recognize the name of that ship. Okay, that ship is friendly.
Yeah.
Cool, guys. Let it come through. Boom. Next thing you know, they're already docked and boarded on, and bam.
I was thinking about more like Rogue One, where you maybe check this out, right? Somebody's mentioning Harky Poo. Some of you guys got some good conversation going on here. You guys are talking about the Herald. What if there was a situation where, check this out, y'all. We're theory crafting, y'all. So don't y'all say CIG said none of this stuff. Me and Fist are having fun right now. Me and Fist are having fun.
Exactly.
But check this out, Fist. Check this out. Y'all just do some good gas on the fire. What if somebody who's out there with their Herald or their Terrapin is scanning a fleet, right? Part of scanning a fleet, as you know, when we scan, we get a lot of information, not only like who's on the ship and what cargo's on the ship, but there are also identifying numbers and other things that pop up, right? What if that now becomes intelligence transferable to a ship like the Legionnaire? So now when I transmit that information to my Legionnaire person, whatever that code is, as you just mentioned, it's punched in by that code pilot. It now gives the ID, right, or what would be the transponder code of one of the ships in the fleet. See what I'm saying? There
you go.
Now,
exactly.
The reason why I'm saying this too, guys, and I think CIG has kind of alluded to this because they've talked about the MFDs, and a lot of times we don't pay attention to the MFDs. We're so used to shortcutting and hitting buttons and keys. But the reality of it is there's a reason why you have a co-pilot. There's a reason why the Javelin and the Idris have 6, 7, 8 other seats behind the pilot. It's not just to catch a view. Those people will have roles and responsibilities and duties. Some of them may be doing shield management. Some may be doing power management. Some might be, as you just mentioned, doing some type of scanning, intelligence. Maybe there's somebody who's working stealth because you need somebody to work stealth, right? It's not just a matter of pushing a button and hoping it works, but there's somebody who is actually doing something to keep your ship stealthy while you're approaching those vessels. There's a lot of fun stuff, like you just mentioned, that could come out of this, including these other ships, right? So now the Herald and the Terrapin are also tied into how even a ship like this could function. CIG, I hope y'all listening because this would be kind of cool. But but that's another way of looking at it, right?
and you're correct. I mean, you know, that ties into, you know what I'm saying, like you said, ship to ship gameplay. You know where you have a basically sorry, the term is eluding me, but you know, where you have that gameplay where, like you said, the usage of one ship coincides with the usage of that ship.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's part of the game mechanic. They're all tied in together, right? They chain together.
Right. And I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, as you expanded upon that, and I would love that, because that puts my MSR to really good use. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Because now that data becomes constantly needed. You know what I mean? And there's a reason for having that data beyond just selling it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And another thing too, just to sort of say, I mean, I know a lot of people look at this ship as a pirate ship, you know.
But it's good guys too. Yeah.
I mean, you have to think about it. What if you have a bunker or something like that that's held down, or that's on an asteroid? You know, like the Nix system out there, as I remember seeing. You know, you might have a outlaw gang held down in there that that you're trying to infiltrate, and you know, you have to dock up with it. You know, and how are you gonna approach it? This ship might become, you know, a very good ship to use, or
someone has stolen your ship and you got to go back and get it.
There you go.
Right, somebody's pirated your stuff, right?
There you go. It's not just
the bad guys,
a pirate, right? And you know what I'm saying. So it's.
Yep, absolutely. Rob, I'm checking out what you're saying here. Yeah, if signatures are critically protected. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We could, if there could find ways, I guess those are great mechanics that they could create, you know, for these ships. Like, because they showed in the Terrapin commercial, one of the things that it goes out in space and hangs out by this asteroid, and as a fleet passes by, it scans the fleet and you hear it radioing something. Now, whether it's radioing, you know, location information, or like you said, Fist, whether they're being able to transmit identifier information, you know, how many people, how many ships there are, how many people, here's the code, because we all know every ship has its own unique code. And I have to think that there's a reason why CIG is doing that. That code could be there for the sake of them on the back end, for them to track stuff, but they've also put that code out there for us. So I have to wonder, is that all that identifying information when we scan people there going to be much bigger than just saying, oh, it's Fist to Face and 3 other people carrying some gold? You know what I'm saying? That there's that information becomes way more relevant than just that. Okay, man, thanks a lot, Fist. That was some good stuff. You helped me with a little bit of theory crafting there. I appreciate that. Okay,
there we go.
All right, bro. Cool. Thanks. Okay. Yeah, that was some good stuff there. We're doing all right here. Let's move on to our second question. And as you guys know, a lot happened this week. We talked about Invictus launch week going out. We know the letter from the chairman came out, and some of what we're going to talk about now is going to be kind of tied into that a little bit. So this is the second question that came in off of Spectrum. By the way, those of you who are here, thank you guys for joining us. Errol Mac, good to see you. I see you out there. Jock, I saw you said you're sitting there with your little one watching us over there in the UK. Happy to have you here with us again. Robert, thanks for coming. Captain Jones, good to see you as well. and all of you are here. And don't forget, you can click on the link that is right below me in video, and you can get to come in one-on-one. Don't y'all let Fist and Pops dominate y'all, because you know they'll come in here and they trying to support me, and I appreciate those brothers. But you all can come in too if you have anything that you want to say on these topics. So thanks for being here again. Okay, let's jump into it. Second question. Open development, managing expectations. Now that was the title of this particular thread. Okay, I just want you to know that, because what I'm going to read to you is a comment that was in the thread, but it was in relation to open development and managing expectations. This person says, and I quote, the name is Admiral Bird, and Admiral Bird says, "I'm very disappointed in the progress of Squadron 42, which will again not be shown this year." Okay. And I'm bringing this up because Squadron 42 has become, again, a subject that has come up in a few of the other questions that we're going to talk about here. And by the way, we are doing a giveaway today by Macaque donated. He contacted me yesterday and said that he wanted to do a giveaway, donate something for a giveaway. So we're going to give away, ironically enough, a Legionnaire today. And so if you guys stick around for the end of the show, we're going to have, like we always do here, we kind of throw out a trivia question, and the first person that answers that trivia question becomes the winner. It's pretty straightforward stuff, pretty easy. You know what? Maybe I should make it. Nah, I'll do that next time. Next time, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it that in order for you to be in for the prize, you have to come in and talk to me. So that's going to be next time when you guys come in. All right. That way I can give you some incentive for coming in. But we are going to give away a Legionnaire today. Okay. Let's go back to the question. I'm very disappointed with the progress of Squadron 42, which again will not be shown this year. Now, this was written right after the letter from the chairman came out. And of course, the letter of the chairman focused tremendously on Star Citizen with very little reference to Squadron 42, just a few hints here and there. But, you know, we're still kind of, the last thing we heard was it'll be ready when it's ready. And that's been about it. And so I want to talk about this disappointment with Squadron 42. I'm not sure where Admiral Byrd or when Admiral Byrd came into the process for this game. I've jokingly said, and I'm joking when I say this, guys, so please don't take me literally. I've often said, if you weren't there when the backing started in 2012, you got nothing to complain about. That's just me talking crazy, okay? Because there were people who came in a year later, 2 years later, 3 years, because they heard about Squadron 42, and that's what got them excited. They didn't even know about the persistent universe, about Star Citizen. They heard about the standalone game. And so obviously it's important that people would want to come in and get into Squadron 42. Talking about the disappointment in the progress. My concern about this is that if they were to say, I'm disappointed about the information about the progress of Squadron 42, I would say I could kind of understand that. I don't know if I understand being disappointed in progress, because there are monthly reports that are given every month of what's being done with Squadron 42. I know we get used to getting the ISCs and the videos and everything else for the universe. But Squadron 42 does release a lengthy written detail of what they've been working on in relation to the game. In fact, even the progress tracker shows the work that they're doing and the activity of work that they're doing. Now, in defense of this person, I will say this. A year ago, when we got the episode 1 of, I forgot what they called it, but Brian Chambers, it was when Brian Chambers started working on Squadron. They did an episode 1 that was supposed to be some type of regular updating of Squadron 42 to the community. We got that first episode. It was an hour long. It was a lot of good information in it. Kind of got us licking our lips. And then all of a sudden, boom, we didn't hear anything else about Squadron 42. There is the progress tracker. Yes, there is the monthly newsletter. But I think that CIG said that they were going to try to do these updates. I don't know how frequently, if they're going to be quarterly, monthly, whatever. And they really didn't follow through. And there were people, I was disappointed in that, because that 1 hour show that they did in the beginning, some of you may remember they showed the big satellite and walked us around inside of it. It was very, very cool. Really enjoyed it and was looking forward to more. I don't know that people are looking to learn about Squadron 42. I don't know if it's about wanting to know what it's about or the storyline or anything like that. But I do think that the community people want to know about progress. How far are we coming? Are we 50% there? Are we 40% there? Are we 80% there? We know that there are technical hurdles in relation to, and we talk about them in relation to Star Citizen all the time, but we also know that Squadron 42 is a standalone game. And so the question is, how close are we? Now, I think Fastcart said this the other day. he said there's an old saying that says that when you get to the end, it's that last step that can often take the longest time. And that may be the factor. Maybe they are very far along, but this very end part is something that is going to take some work. Chris wrote some really great stuff in the letter in relation to the overall development. Talked about the impact that COVID had a little bit with the studio, but we do know that they are working on it, because we know that Chris and his family moved over to the UK. We know that Jared is over there now, and we know that the full focus, the bulk of the focus, not full, bulk of the focus is on getting Squadron 42 done. So let's bring in some folks. Don't forget, click on that link that's in the thing under the video there. You guys can come in, give me your thoughts about this. Is this, I forgot to change the question, right? Change the question. I'm very disappointed in the progress of Squadron 42, which will again not be shown. And I think that they're saying this because it was mentioned that at CitizenCon, no CitizenCon this year, they won't be doing a big presentation like they normally do. And I think they were saying that, they're not going to show us any vertical slice or anything. No word. You know what? We don't know. They didn't say they won't tell us anything about Squadron 42 at the anniversary, but we just know that we're not having a live event where normally they make those type of announcements. So let me bring Pops in, and we'll go from there. Pops, welcome back.
Hey,
yeah. Give me some thoughts here. What you thinking?
Well, one thing that really leaps to mind is that they just put out. You can't say it's an NDA, but they CIG's just put out a restriction, right, on putting out any videos with Squadron 42 in it. So that signals that to me, it signals that there's a lot of things that are going to be changing. It signals up a big ramp up in production. Most of the letters we get from them, when you see on the AI, it's basically all about Squadron 42, then trickles down to the verse. And in my opinion, when Squadron 42 hits, it is going to be a big, enormous draw for CIG. Once people get a hold of that, I think it's gonna. I mean, my gut feeling is that we see the activity now, the money that's being brought in, but I think it's going. I'm not going to say double or anything like that, but I think it's going to be even more significant. Let me just put it like that.
Okay. That's great. I mean, and I think, and by the way, Cal Roddy, thank you for that briefing room. Thank you. Briefing room episode 1. If you guys never saw briefing room episode 1, go back and watch it. Very good. Very well done. Abyssian, thank you so much for that donation, dude. We really, really appreciate that. I know you've been here before and donated. Thank you so much. You guys always help with that, and it helps us do the giveaways and things that we do for our show. So thank you for that. Yeah, Pops, I think everyone's hopeful in the sense of, Squadron 42, and most people don't think it's going to be a flop, right? Just because we know how Chris Roberts is, right? I think that their focus here, though, is that they feel like, and again, they say disappointed in the progress, and it's hard for me to gauge that because they give us progress every month, right? So I almost feel like it's more of like that it would be more, I'm disappointed in having more detail about where we are. You know what I mean? Because the progress reports just tell us about the work, right? But you could be talking about work. But the question is, how close are we to completion, right? I don't need to know what date. But I would like to know, are things going the way they're planned? Or are you at a place where you've run a roadblock? Or, we expect that, you get what my point is. You get my point is. And I think that's maybe what people are feeling a little funny about,
Now, if I can remember here, we talked about it before where Chris, if I'm wrong, correct me, please do, that they made that Chris Robertson made a mistake and announced the date for Squadron 42. Is that correct?
A couple of times.
Right. And I think he, obviously he's learned his lesson as a business person. And I don't know, but I besides a business thing, I just really think they're keeping it behind closed doors for the big reveal and surprise.
Okay.
And that, that's my gut. That's my gut.
Okay. All right. Fair enough, Pops. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thanks for coming back again. Okay.
Okay.
All righty. All right. Let me bring FC in. I think he beat Fist to Face back in here. So let's bring FC in. FC, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Cool. What you got?
You want to say? I think maybe the person, this Richard E. Boy, I don't know this person. I'm just guessing here,
Mhm.
but this, my take. I think that maybe they're disappointed in the lack of spoilers for Squadron 42. Maybe they want to know more about the story, not progress, or maybe they're saying progress because that's how they chose, willingly or unwillingly, to express their frustration. Maybe they're disappointed that it's not out yet because it's like you said, they gave us date for 2014 and 2016 back in the day, and they even had Mark Hamill up on the video game award. So yeah, I mean, but the thing is, we normally don't hear about the game releasing this far out, 8 or 10 years far out. Normally, we only hear about the game when it's like a year or maybe 6 months before it's about to release.
Yeah.
So that maybe that's what they're disappointed in, and instead of saying they're using progress, but I don't think that's the correct word. Most people who are frustrated, I think they're mistaken in using the word progress for the word.
Yeah.
That's my take.
You know, you raise a good point about, and Pops mentioned this too, like when dates go out, right? Because when dates go out, then all of a sudden there's an attitude of the project has been delayed, right? And I guess my question is Star Citizen delayed? I mean, in the scheme of things, you know,
Squadron 42.
Squadron. Is it? And let me say it a different way. You were there with me in 2016, and you remember all the hype that was built leading up through 2014. And there was by the way, for some people don't know, there was a 2014 kind of half date at one point, 15. But 2016 was the year that we were like, okay, we're in LA and it's probably going to happen here. We're going to see the trailer.
And also, don't forget that there was a big roundup to them because they were doing all the stars, Gillian Anderson, Mark Hamill,
right,
and Gary Oldman. They all had videos of behind
interviews,
the scenes stuff,
right,
building up to that.
That's right. So at that point, it was delayed, right? Is that what we would call it?
Yeah.
Delayed? And my question is it delayed now? Because that was 6 years ago. Because that was 6 years ago.
Well, I mean, they haven't given us a date, a release date since 2016.
Yeah, but my point was it was considered delayed in 2016.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, is it delayed now? 6 years later, is it delayed or is it on time? I mean, not to be funny. Now that we've been doing this a while, you and I have been doing this a while, and we've been looking at other games and how long it takes for them to be created, right? And I'm going to talk about this a little bit later because I'm going to use No Man's Sky as a classic example. But we're finding out that games take longer than most people expect, right? A lot of times people think games are turned out in 3 years, 4 years, and a game comes out. But the reality of it is they take longer, right?
Right.
And so that's why I'm saying, are we really delayed? I get we were delayed because they gave us a date in 2016. I get that. But my question now is also, are we still considered delayed? Or is it just...
let me give a counterpoint. Is that the scope and scale of the game has changed and increased so vastly that maybe it wouldn't be called a delay because it could be like not a completely different game from 2016, but a vastly different game than what they thought they were going to release in 2016. So maybe it's not delayed, but it's just taking a long time to get those features and those visuals and what have you in the game that they weren't expecting in 2016 or 2014.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right, Fast Card. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, brother.
No problem, man.
All righty. Let's bring in Fist to Face. Hey, buddy. How are you?
Hey. How are you?
Okay. What you got?
All right. So I'm going to kind of go in a direction of this on a psychology of us as gamers, right? To the question, right? And I understand that, when you show somebody something, and you give them, like we said, you give them dates and, expectations come into play. And hope. And then when it doesn't come, disappointment comes in.
Mhm.
Frustration comes along with it,
Mhm.
and everything like that. And I think a lot of times, with open development, there's unfortunately, there's a good side and there's a bad side to it. As listening to a guy from another game who does open development, Steven Sharif,
Mhm.
creation.
Mhm.
So, when you show open development to something, you people can see firsthand, the growing pains of things, and people first, can see all the jitters and bugs and stuff like that, and they get off to it. So what I'm trying to get to the point is that, I kind of look at it, for people out there who feel like this, don't look at it as the game, oh, because you didn't get any news that you wanted, that progress isn't being made. These people are working hard, to make this game, not just a game, but I believe, to me, from what I could think, is a living environment, as we can call it,
Mhm.
because we've never seen a game like this.
Yeah,
before.
but let me stop you though, because be careful.
Okay.
Be careful. I want you to be careful that you're not bleeding into Star Citizen versus Squadron 42, because we have not seen Squadron 42. So I get what you're saying.
Right.
The technologies are going together, but I want to make sure that
Right.
we understand that this person's focusing in on they're disappointed about Squadron. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay.
But that's what I'm saying too. We don't know
Mhm.
what's in Squadron 2 exactly. You know what I mean?
Right.
That we can, the environment that Squadron 42 could then present to us too. And yes, and you're right.
Mhm.
There is a part that Star Citizen does connect to Squadron 42, as we understand.
Mhm.
And you're right. And if you separate Squadron 42 and just leave it as itself, as its own entity, then you still don't know, because they do want that game. I believe, to me, in my opinion, as I want to put that out there and make sure that they want that game to be a staple in the gaming community.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, okay, if you haven't heard anything right now, sometimes, you got to kind of take it as, all right, they're trying to do what they need to do in order to push it out. And sometimes, no news for us as gamers, our minds can run wild with things,
Yeah, I get
and that's my take on it.
Okay. No, fair enough. Fair enough. I've got a bet, just so you'll know, with I put a bet on Twitter with Paul Shelley the other day, because his bet was Squadron 42 will not be seen till 2025. And I bet him any hover bike of his choice that it'll be 2023. So we'll see what happens. We'll see whether or not I have to pay for a bike or not. But yeah, to your point, people are working hard. But again, this person's disappointed. And again, as you know, the way they worded it, I'm having difficulty when they talk about no progress, because there is progress, but maybe it's just
right. I mean,
and they're mentioning about again. Yeah, and they say again, and I think they're saying that because once again, CitizenCon's being canceled. We're not hearing anything about it. That's usually where we hear something about it, right? And this year we're not going to hear it, Okay, well, I'm going to beat this dead horse. I got a couple more people that want to come in, and I want to get to this. But thanks for coming in. I know you're going to come back for this other one I got later, so I look forward to hearing from you again. Okay. All right. Let's bring Robert Hagri in. Robert's here. Hey, Robert, how are you, man? Oh, he might have stepped away.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Are you sure you want to do this? Come on, let's come on with it. Bring it, brother. I'm not taking no sides. I'm just putting out here what's out here. This is for you to say what you got to say. Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay. Well, you give me dead air. Go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
I'm not. I won't say I'm. In a sense, I'm disappointed. But in another way, I'm not disappointed. It's hard to be disappointed when you don't know where they are. I'm disappointed in that I would like to have had Squadron 42 by now. They said beta December of 2020. That came and went. I'm retirement age, so I'd really like to be able to play this while I can play.
I agree.
And in other regard, I can't say I'm disappointed in the progress because we don't know what the progress is. They give us pieces that they're working on and how those pieces are coming together, how those pieces are progressing. But what about the overall progress of the game? They can do that without giving us dates by showing percentage completion on just Squadron 42. If they're halfway done, just like we're at 50%, we worked on these things over here. So we had 50% completion on the overall task of building Squadron 42.
Right.
And that's my take on it. Just
that's perfect.
Say how far along you are, and then you have an idea of what their progress is without them giving or committing to dates.
No, I agree. And your point is well taken, because I'm up there too, and I've honestly, to be honest with you, I had what I thought was a health challenge coming up, and weirdly enough, I thought about that. I was kind of like, man, dude, I hope I get to see this. You know what I'm saying? It's not just the money invested, it's the time invested, right? I mean, there's a whole lot. Weirdly enough, when you look back in retrospect, how much you really are investing in this thing. And to hope that you'll be able to not just play it, but see the whole thing come about. It's not just about the money we put forward, but the time, the mental energy, the relationships, all that stuff is a part of it. And so there are some people who have left this world, right? That we know that were names in this thing, and they ain't here no more. They didn't get to see it happen. So yeah, I agree. That's why I agree with you. Just to give us some type of barometer, like you said, you know what I mean? As the needle goes up on the thermometer thing, just 70%, you know what I mean? If I can look back 2 years and go and say, y'all were at 40%, I have some gauge of where we are. But just kind of it out there in the ether, knowing that, well, yeah, you're working on it, here's the pieces, but still not always seeing how, how close to that vision are you? To tell me about AI is great, but are you 80% there on AI, or are you 20% on AI? I agree that barometer would be helpful to the community, at least for some people in the community. I agree.
And I've got a good bit invested, and I don't worry about that. That's money gone. But my wallet runs for me.
Yeah.
Anytime I come in here, and especially now, I don't even know where it is. It hid, and it lets me know that it's safe and secure, but it won't tell me where it is.
Oh, you hear screaming? That's about it. Get back.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's a good position. Objective thought, and it adds a little bit more light to what is, I think, genuine feelings about how people can feel about it. Because obviously you support it because you're still here, but at the same time, there's like, we need a little bit more. That makes us feel a little bit more confident about how things are going. So thanks, Rob. Appreciate that, brother. All righty. Let me bring in Admiral Kusanagi, then Kalrati, and then we're going to move on to the next topic. Admiral Kusanagi, what's up, brother?
Hey, how's it going there, Griff?
Good. What's going on? What you got? What you thought you got?
Well, first of all, I haven't seen this Admiral Byrd at the Admiral Convention, but I will say that I'll have to talk to him the next time I show up.
Okay, fair enough.
It's kind of funny. You guys were talking about it, but when you look at like what's happened with the PU in terms of where we were in 2016 to hey, we can land on any planet, any moon now. It's like, and all the tech that they've actually been inventing. Well, I'm assuming that that some of that tech that we can use in the PU is making Squadron 42 better. So the idea that there's a little bit of feature creep here is perfectly reasonable to say, like, yeah, there's some feature creep here, but for the betterment of the actual finished game, and I'm sure they can put out some new patches with a lot more added content in the future after it's released. But I think that's where we're at in terms of Squadron 42, and that's the way I have to look at it. And like, yeah, like you just mentioned, yeah, there are people who just want like a finished game, but it's like you don't want Freelancer 3.0. You want Squadron 42.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like it's difficult to kind of like, it's disappointing. But to get something that is going to leave us like in awe, and have a game that will, like an RPG anyways, that can last as long or more than like Mass Effect has with the remastered version. And that game, over 10 years, and people just playing it now and like loving it. So to be able to put an RPG out there that's and have the replayability factor be out there, and maybe do things a little differently each time. I think that takes a little bit of it's and to make it perfect, to make it as perfect as possible. Yeah, I really think it's gonna. I want them to take their time with it.
You know, Emerald, sometimes I think about this project similar to how there are certain people in the motion picture industry that they go to make their movies, and you listen to the time frames that they do, and it's like, wow, look how long it takes to make it. You're anticipating, you're waiting for the film to come out. If you remember back in the early days when the original Star Wars films came out, there was no churning of films, right? You literally waited 2.5, 3 years before the next film came out, right? Quite often those films were over budget, you know, a whole lot of things would take place with them, but when they came out, they were mind-blowing, right? Now, don't get me wrong, there's some people who've done that same thing before, and the movies were a flop, right? I think that sometimes Chris Roberts, his past history with game development also has been something that people have used as a pro or negative toward him. His time when he was trying to deal with Microsoft, the issues with Freelancer, Starlancer, there's a whole lot of things there where people will say, yeah, Chris comes up with some great stuff. But then the other side of the coin is that, yeah, but Chris also goes crazy, right? He comes up with crazy stuff and he goes crazy. Some people say he micromanages, right? He's you know, the stories about him going and seeing one thing wrong and having people go back to the drawing board again. It's interesting that those same negatives are also the things that make his games good. You know what I mean? It's like that evil genius kind of thing that you have to have if you want something that's going to be different. And so and because of that, I think I personally give a little more room, but it's also still frustrating. It doesn't take away the fact that, yeah, I would love to play this game. I would love to see it finally come out. I'm more towards Star Citizen and Squadron 42 than the standalone. I want to play the standalone. No, don't get me wrong. I want to play it, but being in a verse and being with other players is the thing that I know I can just do anytime, is the thing that really interests me. And the fact that these two things are going hand in hand, just like there's a waiting on Squadron 42, there's also some waiting on, you know, there's certain things they don't put in Star Citizen because they want it revealed in Squadron 42. So I want the verse to expand more, but that can't expand because Squadron 42 isn't out, right? So
I know
it's both sides, you know?
Yeah, you know what's funny is, like, if you go back and watch the old trailers, like, especially I was watching a trailer years ago for Jaws, and Jaws was like, they didn't even have a trailer. It was like Chief Rhodey is the chief of like this small like, you know, Cape Cod island and blah 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 blah, and he's a man, you know, and it's just like, what? And then they go into like the developing and like, and this is, you know, the director and like he's, and you know, it's like they have like quick like 20-second conversations where like, what do you mean you want to close the beach? It's summer, and like, and it ends, and it's just like, what?
That's
like,
all it was.
And there's a level of people who are like, who want like to be able to see those Marvel trailers and to be like, oh, I've seen the past 6 Marvel trailers for, say, you know, Ant-Man 2 or 3, and I've been able to piece them together, so I kind of know what the story's about. And then there's people who were like, grew up, you know, around the you know, the days of like when the Jaws trailer came out, and you don't know what the hell you're getting into. You just know that this guy works on a beach someplace, and you know they've had like an animal attack, but they barely showed that they barely show Jaws. So you like, it's that same, it's like the yin and yang of like what is acceptable for, like, you know, spoilers, and I tend to stay away from, you know, trailers as it gets closer to release, because they show too much, and I kind of think that's where SIG is like, you know what, we'll talk about it, we'll tell people what we are in those like weekly or monthly, you know, updates.
Yeah.
But they've been super quiet on like actual visuals and like, yeah. So I mean, for the past couple of years, I've been like, oh well, it's obviously they're gonna have Squadron 42 something at the IAE this year, or you know, and like, no, they haven't done anything. And to my dismay, and now I kind of think it's just like, yeah, they just want to keep this one in the bag and surprise people and make them be like, well, this is the best game in the world because everything is fresh and brand new.
Those are good points.
Even though the Retaliator has been past gold standard, I think, for like months or like half a year, but they're probably just waiting for Squadron 42 to show it. So I don't know.
Okay.
Anyways, that's it.
Oh, no, thank you, Admiral. That's a good point. And make sure you talk to what's his name again?
Yeah,
Admiral
that's
Byrd.
Admiral Big Bird.
Admiral Byrd when you see him.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, buddy.
All right.
All right. Let's bring Calrati in, then we're going to move on to our next one here. Calrati, how are you?
Hey, Griff. Hey, everybody.
Good.
Everything.
Good. What's going on? You got some thoughts?
Yeah. So, with regards to what Admiral Byrd said, with regarding his disappointment and those things, I'm not necessarily disappointed in Squadron 42 at all. Honestly speaking, I'm looking forward to Squadron 42 more than Star Citizen for now. Because of its single player aspect and my experience with Freelancer, even though Freelancer had its controversy and those things. The thing is, the reason why I'm not disappointed in it is because of the nature that Chris Roberts has, right? This guy, a couple of years ago, I told a friend of mine that this guy is doing a PhD without finishing, right? And I told him that because of his nature with research. As someone who's doing his PhD, one thing that I always have to keep in mind is that if you have or provide some kind of idea or some kind of idea to a proposal, you have to be very careful about how expansive and how much research that idea, that simple idea, may require. For example, a couple of months ago, I had my second research proposal, and when I finished, my research supervisor was like, "What the heck are you talking about?" Because what I didn't realize is that simple idea actually pushed the estimated completion of my work from 8 months to 2 years. So I'm expected to 2025, even though it's gonna it's gonna contribute to the research environment in a really great way. It's gonna take a heck of a lot more time, right? So in terms of Chris Roberts and his nature towards Squadron 42, I'm not necessarily disappointed because I think what he's trying to do, and this kind of, it's not CIG's fault per se, but in terms of his goal to pushing the envelope, we have to keep in mind also that the gaming industry, if you kind of look back to the whole open world FPS and those categories, we've been at a plateau for, well, a steady plateau. It's been steadily increasing, but we've been at a plateau for a good bit of years, right? In terms of our technology and how technology is applied, and that would have been dependent on many different aspects with regards to technology, computing, and those things. But to be able to actually play catch up or help the industry play catch up, because you have all of these really talented developers, but if they've been coming from different companies where that whole research and development has seen or has been experiencing a plateau instead of continuous development, then you have to also encourage them and putting the amount of work to play catch up, because you're talking about pulling from a knowledge base that didn't really exist. You have to create your own knowledge base to contribute and play catch up to that, to basically do what you wanted other game developers to do with them, over the past 5 or 6 years. So if he were to, let's say, the scope would have increased because of procedural planets and those things, right? And this is going to be my final point. If he would have had an idea to support all of those things, then he and the developers would have to establish certain aspects and certain factors in terms of the R&D, and who knows how much R&D would actually be required, right? Because this actually touches on Robert's point in terms of us at least needing to get some kind of percentage. How much R&D do they still need is my question, because if they don't really know how much R&D that they have to put in, even for the single player, then they may not actually have a percentage that they can give us, even themselves, yet.
To your point, you mentioned about procedural and how that could have changed things, right? This. Some of the people watching may not know this, but originally, and we talked about this just a couple weeks ago, Star Citizen was not a game that you could fly anywhere in. It was aspects of it that was on rails. So, for example, when you approached a planet, you would approach the planet. There would be like a comm array that would say, "Welcome to the area." You would transfer, quote unquote, control of your ship over to the controllers on that planet, and you would sit back and relax and enjoy the ride into the city. That was the way it was structured. Then CIG said, well, we may be able to expand that a little bit more to let you fly, but it's still going to be on rails. There's going to be like this corridor that you have to fly in. and you have to fly in that category to get there, because we do want to give you the flexibility of being able to handle your ship. Because people, okay, that's cool. Then next thing you know, one of the CIG devs goes home on his own, works on a project, comes back, turns on the computer and tells his bosses, hey, I want to show you something. They turn it on, and he has developed the capability that you could fly anywhere on the planet, from any angle, any approach, and land. That was not supposed to be in the game. So think about, to your point, Calrati, think about how much that changed the way even Squadron 42 could play now. Because most games are on the rails, right? Most of those standalones are on the rails. Is CIG making it so that even in Squadron 42, you can still have that capability? Possibly, right?
Because for instance, just to touch on that final point, just going from that distance from in space to the ground, as opposed to that whole on the rails thing, you would have to think about, okay, what are the lines that you have to put in if there's going to be any action? Because the first demonstration that they showed when they went to, I can't remember, it was in the Odin system, I can't remember the moon. It honestly felt a bit dead, the dead space, going from space to ground. So they have to fill in all those things. You have to think about, okay, are they going to have action in the air now? Because all of these things, this whole expansive space. So one can only imagine.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, that's a good point. I was thinking about, and thank you, Calrati. I'm going to bump you out of here. Thanks for coming in on that. I was thinking about Star Wars. Any of you guys have ever watched the making of Star Wars films? This happened several times when they were making the movies. George Lucas would bring in his team. He'd set up storyboards. He'd go through this whole thing about, this is what we're going to do, and this and this and this and this and this and this and this, and everybody be like, hey, this sounds great, blah blah blah, and Lucas would leave, and then his technical people would turn around and say, how the heck do we do this? Because quite often, even in the earlier films, the technology didn't even exist. They had to build it themselves. They had to create their own tools to be able to do the cameras, the track. That stuff didn't exist beforehand. Yeah, you had frame by frame stop animation, but these guys brought it to a point where it became computerized, and now they were shooting blue screen, shooting these ships. All that stuff was created by the people in that studio. They had to build it out, and it didn't just happen on the first Star Wars movies. Lucas would come back with another film and say, we're going to do blah, 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 blah. It's going to be 20 feet tall, and we're going to have this. And they look at each other again and say, okay, how the heck do we do this? They weren't using don't get me wrong, they were using some of the tools that existed, but they also created new tools that were never seen before. And Star Citizen in many ways has done the exact same thing. They spent a lot of time building those tools so that they could now create, as Calrati said, and as Fist said, something that maybe we've never seen before. And we're all hoping that that's what the case is. We don't want to see just the game that, we could have got from anybody else. We want to see something, as Calrati said, that literally moves the needle in the gaming industry as to how games are made. So thank you guys. Those are all awesome comments. Thank you guys for coming in for that. Let's jump into this next one. Let's see, what time is it? 3? You know what? I'm going to jump into let's see. Okay, I am going to do this one, and then we're going to do one more, and then we're going to do our giveaway. Don't forget, we're doing a giveaway for a Anvil Legionnaire donated by Macaque today. So you guys be ready for that when it's time to go, because I've got a trivia question for you on that one. Okay, so this one is from Reddit. Yes, this is from Reddit. Why Star Citizen is a real love-hate relationship. This was done by Spartan0536. And what he said was this: I love Star Citizen when it works like it should. When it works like it should. But some of those bugs make me really hate how slow the progress has been over the years. But I understand how difficult and monumental the game actually is. It's a love-hate relationship of Iliad proportions. Okay, so I thought this was kind of an interesting post, because he calls it right out, right? There's a love-hate dynamic of it. When things are going great, oh, we love the game, and that's great. But when things aren't going well, we hate the game, and we say, this is taking too long to get fixed, right? Understandable, right? Understandable position. Love-hate relationship with the game, knowing that it even concedes to the fact that I understand how difficult and monumental this game is. So yeah, let me get a couple people in on this one, and we'll see what you guys think about it. Do you have a love-hate relationship with Star Citizen. Let's bring in a good friend of ours, Kai Zen from Black Sky Legion, and he's going to give us his thoughts. Kai, you there?
I do not have a love-hate relationship.
You don't? Are you divorced? Are you divorced? Are you separated?
No.
Are you engaged?
No, here's the thing.
What?
Here's the thing. I learned many years ago, as a very young Marine, there was this woman that I spent time with. And I'll just be as I'll gloss over it as quickly as I can, but just to say that the sex was great and she was fun and we had a great time about 70% of the time. And the other 30% of the time could best be summed up by the time she stabbed me in the thigh with a fork because she thought I was flirting with a waitress at a bar.
Okay.
So that's the way I feel about Star Citizen. It's not a love-hate, because here's what I learned to do with that young lady. When it's good, I spend as much time with her as I could. And when it's bad, I would head for the hills. I would go to I would head to the USO. I would go out with friends. I would do whatever, and I would just stay away from her. So that's me with Star Citizen. Honestly, it would be a love-hate relationship, but the only reason why it's not is because when it's good, I'm in, and when it's not, I go play New World. I go play No Man's Sky. I go play this one or that one. I just get the hell out, because, and I said this last night in the Soul Citizens in the Discord when we were all hanging out, just shooting the breeze. I've never once had a good situation with Star Citizen. I've always had a spectacular situation or an absolute disaster. So when I log in and it's spectacular, I ride that wave as long as I can. And when it's a disaster, I get out, close up shop, and go play something else, rather than, because here's the deal, I don't get paid to be miserable. So I might as well just go have fun somewhere else. Star Citizen will be great tomorrow, or if not, the next day. And when it ain't good, I do not punish myself. Kai, that's all I got.
Let me throw something at you. Let me throw something at you.
Yes, sir.
I'm just talking off the side of my neck here, okay?
Sure.
We know that this development, this whole thing of Star Citizen is unique, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, there's been crowdfunding and all this stuff, but I'm talking about this whole process of how things are happening, whether it's the way we purchase ships, whether it's the convention, whether it's the annual events such as IAE and Invictus. I mean, there's a lot of uniqueness to this, right? Yeah. Which drives a lot of the things that drive a gamer.
Yes, sir.
You agree? Okay.
Events, special things.
All types of stuff, right? For a game that, quote unquote, is still in development, right? Like,
yes,
you know, if we saw this stuff in a game that's out there, like a World of Warcraft convention, well, okay, we get that, right? But we're talking about a game that isn't even per se out there yet.
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm going to go deep a little bit here.
Okay.
I'm theory crafting, y'all. Games also stimulate aspects of our brain.
Yes, sir.
Like drugs, right?
Okay. Dopamine.
Right. Is that a factor?
Absolutely.
I'm talking about in the sense of denial. When I can't play this game, is my response such a physical response? You see what I'm saying? That it's not it's not irrational per se, right? Because you can give me all the logic you want about, CIG's doing this in time, and games take long. But is there possibly even we're reacting because literally this thing is firing off on us because there's a part of us that says, I've got this thing in my hand that I can go to and play, but then I have to live with all of that negative sides of it, and it's messing with me. I mean, physically messing with me, that I shut down. And it's not so easy. Don't get me wrong. If you keep some perspective, I'm sure it does. It's not always easy to still say, I'll go play No Man's Sky, I'll go play New World, because you still get a little disappointed, right? But I'm just saying, you get what I'm saying? Is some of this actually really, 100%. That's why we're having a lot of conflict, because it is really messing with us psychologically, emotionally, everything.
I think you're absolutely right that it is that. It is, you get a dopamine hit. And I don't know if you saw the most recent Level Cap Gaming video thing where he talked about, he's like, why am I having, he's a new, he's a big FPS streamer who just came into and is playing Star Citizen in the last month or so. And he's got over 100, he's got like hundreds of hours in already. And he's like, why do I play this? He's like, look, in certain ways, it's a broken, buggy mess. Why do I still play it? This gives me very specific, dopamine hits. This gives me very specific experiences that nothing else out there gives me right now. And so this would be if you're looking at this from a standpoint of like, hey man, let me grab a drink. This is your Lafroig or this is your Lagavulin. This is like top quality scotch, right? But here's the thing. As a Marine, you learn if you go to the restaurant and they ain't got your scotch, take a Jack and Coke. Get a rum and Coke. Get some vodka. Do whatever it is you need to do, but just get a different flavor then. So I get 100% what you're saying. Star Citizen gives you a dopamine hit like nothing else. But if you can't get it good here, rather than banging your head against the wall and crying about it, log out for the day,
go to rehab.
Go fishing.
Go to rehab.
Go fishing.
Right? There you go. Right.
Go fishing. Go for a hike. Yeah. Make your woman a surprise dinner. Spend some quality time with your kids. Yeah. Go play a video game, fly a kite, do whatever the hell it is you got to do to not make yourself miserable. Yeah. That's for any more. Like I do a show, so I speculate on Star Citizen for the purpose of the show. But me as a player, me as a person anymore, I don't think about Squadron 42. I don't think about Star Citizen as far as like, this is coming or that's coming. I just play what we have today because what we have today, you're absolutely right, Griff. There are so many things that Star Citizen today does for you that nothing else can. Yeah. So just enjoy what's good. And when it ain't good, go take a walk in the sunshine. Feel that sun on your face. Spend time with your family.
That's good. Good stuff, Kai. Thank you so much.
Love you, brother.
Appreciate
Talk to you
that.
later.
You too. All right, that's some good stuff. I got 4 people in chat. Y'all listen, I know y'all want to talk about this, so I got to watch my time today because I got to be somewhere in about 45 minutes, so I might kind of rush you a little bit, but I do want to hear what you all have to say about this. I'm laughing at some of the things that are in chat. Mad Style says, say no to gaming. Malkari says, ask the marketing team how well they understand psychology and triggers. Absolutely. I mean, that's what I'm saying. This might be a little bit deeper than just people being upset about not being able to be in the game. Let me get Pops in, then J2, then Fist, then Calrati again. I'm sorry, I grabbed Calrati first. I grabbed the wrong one. Hang on, Calrati. I'm putting you back. I got to get Pops in here. All right, Pops, what you got for me?
I just got to say this. My man Kai, the first person I've ever heard put going from one game to another game like a booty call.
That's true. He just said flip the switch, right? That's all he said, dude, right? Just change gears. That's all you got to do, right? Yeah. Okay.
It's a new world. We all been there and had to do that. Had to do the booty call. So that's all I want to say.
All right. Thanks, Pops. That's good stuff. Good stuff. Let me get J2 in here next. J2, Smiling Viking. Good man. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, man. What's going on?
Good,
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Good. What you got for me?
I jumped into chat there while Kai was talking, and immediately after I jumped in, you sort of covered my argument for me.
Well, go ahead.
Which was simply that, Star Citizen scratches a particular kind of itch that, you just don't get it anywhere else. The Star Citizen experience isn't available in any other games. Someone brought up a point, to me not long ago of, a similar sort of thing, where it was just, go play somewhere, go support a different project or, something like that. And there simply is nothing else out there comparable to Star Citizen as a game. Yeah. Just in what it is on paper. Combine that with the feelings that you get, the dopamine hit, the that again, just scratching that particular sort of itch.
Yeah, when it's good, it's good. When it's good, it's good, right?
Exactly. At the same time, I also agree with what Kai was saying about you can try and find things other places, and for me personally, that when he's saying you go to the bar and they don't have your drink, you get another drink. That philosophy doesn't really work with me. I find that there are too many areas in life where we need to compromise, where, we just have to make do because the other things simply are not available. when it comes to something like gaming, or when it comes to just things that I particularly enjoy, I'm not willing to deal with a lesser experience. That having a lesser experience, it's like, okay, it's like I'm almost getting what I want, but not quite. And then I end up getting more frustrated than I was when I started off.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
it's like a tease.
Yeah. No.
You know, you never quite getting there.
I can agree with that sentiment, because what I've noticed about me, J2, is I'm playing less and less other games now. I'm
exactly.
I don't know what it is, but I've got like 100, almost 200 games in my freaking Steam thing, right? And I look at them. There are times I tell myself, "Oh, I need to play that one day. I need to," but I find myself drifting back to this thing. You know what I mean? I honestly have stuff I've never played. I bought it. It's sitting there, and I keep trying to tell myself, and I never seem to get the energy. But I have the energy to go back to this broken game. You know what I mean? It's kind of sick.
Exactly, it is sick. It is. It's definitely some addictive addict sort of like behavior, no doubt.
Yeah.
But you know, my person, like, I say, you know, like I was saying, that, you know, there's too many areas in life where we need to compromise, and we just have to make do. When it comes to my gaming experience or the things that, you know, I particularly enjoy, I've always said that I would rather do without than make do.
Okay, that's fair.
So
that's
yeah,
fair.
that's where I stand on that one. That's, you know, that's pretty much how I feel with Star Citizen.
That's
you know, I love the Star Citizen experience when it's there, and when it's not, I am frustrated as all hell.
That's fair. Fair enough.
You know.
Appreciate that, J2. Thanks for stopping in too, man. It's good to hear you.
You too, man.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's bring Fist to Face in, then Calrati, and then we're going to move on to our final topic of the day. What is my thing doing? It's doing crazy stuff here. There we go. We got Fist in. Hey, Fist.
Hey, how are you?
Okay, what you got? What you got?
All right, I'm gonna keep it short.
Okay.
At first, when you first read the question, I was going to say yes. I have a love-hate relationship with Star Citizen until Kai explained his scenario.
Okay.
And I have to, and it dawned on me, even though Kai, he put it in such a, I don't know what you want to call it,
his own way.
I have to agree with him.
Yeah.
And I have to agree with him and say, damn, you know what? When it is good, it's good. But when it is bad, all right, I've learned to just say, all right, because I've had plenty of times in the past, and even recently, you know, where, you know, bugs happen, crashes on my system, and hell, recently 317 was locking up my system. I mean, completely.
Yeah.
And I was really scared. And I'm like, okay, wait, because I can't have this happening, you know. But I have to agree with him where, for me, I have learned to just say, all right, let me not get into rage mode and concede into that emotion, and just let me pick up, you walk away. Let's take a break from this thing. Let's go do something else. You know. You know what I mean? And I get it. And I get what J2 would say. He makes a good point. He doesn't want something, you know, at a lesser quality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time too, I will say, if anybody who's looking for that danger element out there that Star Citizen someday will bring, hey, you know, Mortal Online 2 is definitely something you can look into if you like that dopamine
on a D&D level.
excitement.
Yes, on a D&D level. If you're into D&D, as far as level of detail and all that stuff.
Oh my goodness! You want to go out there and feel like, you know, a rush. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. All right. Good referral there. Thank you, Fist. All right. Last but not least, let's bring in Calrati, and then we're going to get to the final topic. Go ahead, Calrati.
Hey, yeah. So with regards to the whole relationship thing, and, you know, everyone touched on some really, really good points, and pretty much used a lot of the elements that I wanted to build on. That particular word, dopamine, is extremely important, because I was looking at a very short YouTube video one time, and he was saying that MMOs are dead or dying. And what he said is that he felt like a lot of the tasks at hand in some MMOs or some massive multiplayer games, they're usually grindy, right? And that kind of connected to one thing that someone else on Twitch said a couple of years ago with regards to Star Citizen. Star Citizen offers experiences that you would not really find yourself doing repeatedly, but you would find yourself that when you were to do a particular task, it will be memorable. And interestingly enough, when not every bug, right, I would say, offers the unpredictability that keeps drawing us back. But strangely, some of the bugs actually add to that unpredictability that allows us to build on that and feel that dopamine that we want to get. So, because, for example, let's say a minor bug were to occur and your ship despawned. You will have to possibly ask someone to come in game and help you. And who knows what will happen when they're on their way. So Star Citizen's love-hate relationship, I think, also stems from that unpredictability. And also in terms of some of the bugs that actually contribute to that unpredictability, that kind of level of dopamine that when it happens on a rare occasion, not repeatedly to make us feel grindy, but when it happens, that level of dopamine and unpredictability allows us or makes us back, even if you want to take a break. That's it for me.
That's good stuff. Okay. Thank you, Kelradi. All right. Well, I guess the dopamine argument is something that folks are agreeing with. We all need to go to rehab, I guess. Basically, Admiral Kusanagi said, you all need help. He's playing Scum to keep his mind off of 30Ks. No, I think that the positions that everybody took, I think Kai's position about saying, hey, there's plenty of other things to do, not just games, but he said, sometimes step away, get back into doing some real life stuff. Don't get yourself to the point where you're smashing your keyboard and kicking in your monitor. J2's point about the fact that there's a certain level of excellence that Star Citizen brings that no other game brings, and it's kind of hard to play anything less than. I think all of those are just really, 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 really good points that I think all of us can kind of fall into one of those categories or some of those categories. Okay, let's hit this last topic. Don't forget, we're doing a giveaway. We're giving away a Anvil Legionnaire that was donated by Macaque. Macaque, thank you again so much for that. He just kind of nowhere last night sent me a message and said, hey, how would you like for me to donate this? And I'm like, really? Cool. So we're going to do that after this next question. Okay, we're moving into industry now. This is something that was in the industry. Some of you remember that we did an interview almost 2 years ago with Chris Neal from Massively Overpowered, the online magazine. And from time to time, I read everybody, Kotaku and everybody else, just to see what folks are saying, right? And most of the time it's negative stuff towards Star Citizen. But usually Massively, since Chris Neal's been there, has been kind of moderate. He just usually kind of talks about whatever is the latest and what's the update and what's in it, and kind of like, we'll see where things go. That's usually been his position. But he took a different position this time. And I ended up having to write a commentary back to him. I'm not going to go into my commentary, but I am going to highlight a segment of that was in here. And I would love to get you all's feedback on what you think about what he says here. And the title of this was Stick and Rudder is the title of the thing. It was some thoughts on Chris Roberts' annual Star Citizen address. Now he's talking about the letter that just came out, the letter for the chairman the other day. This just came out the other day. And this is what he says. I'll get to the quick and easy stuff out of the way first, starting with COVID excuses. And in my eyes, that's precisely what they are, excuses. I'm hard pressed to take Chris Roberts' explanation that features got rolled back because of the pandemic at face value, hear and more assess his reasons as being his stubborn inability to adapt to a work from home environment. That's what he said in this whole thing. Let me read the rest of it. Roberts probably works better when he's looming over everyone's desk, but I'm not sure how many members of CIG feel similarly, and the number of meetings and video conferences referenced in the letter reeks more of management that's incapable of assigning tasks efficiently. Yeah, that's where that one stands at. And I was really taken back by this a little bit. Some of the comments I wrote back to Chris's was the fact that CIG wasn't the only company. Almost every studio was impacted by COVID in some form. Many of them weren't even prepared to have a work from home situation. And so I said, in fact, CIG kind of told us that they were, in some ways better braced for it because they already had a lot of that structure in place. But Chris is saying that it wasn't about the technology, and some of you know this. I even talked about this when I was working at the time at another location. There is a certain dynamic that happens when you can walk down the hall, knock on somebody's door and say, can I talk to you for a moment? Many of you during COVID know that when you were having to have meetings from home, it was difficult. Matter of fact, a lot of people said they were having even more meetings when they were at home than when they were in the office, and that there's a lot of, it felt like wasted time because you didn't have that luxury of looking over, to your neighbor's desk and talking to them, or like I said, going down the hall, knocking on somebody's door. So his argument about COVID being an excuse, I don't know where that came from. There's too many people who told me that doesn't make any sense. And then the other thing about Chris Roberts having some type of having to loom over people's desks, which is interesting too, because we know that Chris, like many other people, I don't care if you're talking about a James Cameron, if you want to talk about a George Lucas, if you want to talk about a Peter Jackson, these people, Dave Filoni, they have their hands in stuff. They're there. They're not just sitting in some room as an executive producer waiting on people to do stuff, but they are hands-on and a part of their visions, and that's why their things come off very, very well. So I'm going to stop there on that and let some of you guys come in and give me some feedback that you have. I'm going to bring in FC because FC was the one that reminded me to look at this article a second time, because I had only glanced at a little bit of it, and then he said, no, it's not as positive as it usually is, and I went back and looked at it. So let me bring FC in real quick. FC, you're back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Cool. Okay, what you got?
Yeah, man, this article, did you hear about this? Was I the first one to send this to you?
No. I knew about it, but I just glanced over it. I didn't read it until you told me, until you told me it's not that hot. And I went back and said, let me read it.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I told you this in private. I'm going to repeat it here. Mm-hmm. We're going to have to bring him back, Chris Neal back, for part 2 of our journalist show. That's one thing I wanted to say. And you said you were taken back by the article. I was taken back too. I was like, where is this coming from? Mm-hmm. I was really surprised.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to address, my last thing. He said that the entire section of the letter pretty much has confirmed, to me at least, that Roberts had lost sight of who he's building the game for. More than one commenter in the comment section pointed out, Chris Roberts is making a game for Chris Roberts. He's not making a game for the fan. So I'm like, we got to get this guy back and talk about it some more.
We have said that same thing and reminded people of that too, that Chris Roberts invited us to come on the ride of the game that he wants to play. We've said that before. You're absolutely right. There were people who responded to Chris Neal's article who said the same thing and that they're on it for the ride. I was, again, taken back a little bit by this. I just because normally it didn't come off as like a hit piece to a certain degree. There were some other things he had problems with, like he had problems with CitizenCon being canceled, which was interesting to me because normally people complained about us having CitizenCon. And then he turns around and says, "Oh, they're canceling CitizenCon. Is there a problem?" Like, what the heck? Well, if we have it, it's bad.
If you don't.
Exactly. So anyway, you guys, we put the link in chat for you guys. You can read the article for yourself, and hopefully you'll understand, what was being said here. I'm going to bring in a couple more people.
Those are the points that stuck out to me.
Okay. No, those are good points. Thank you, FC. I appreciate it. And thanks again for reminding me about the article. Okay, let's bring in Pops, and then we're going to bring in Rabba Hagri. Pops, you there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep mine really brief.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I was disappointed that I couldn't get to CitizenCon this year and be with everybody, because a major part of this game is social. We could have mining depth up, so deep, but to me, it's all about the people. But I will say this. As much as I miss going to CitizenCon, I do understand. I do understand the point that there's something around the corner and they want to get it done. That's simply my point.
Okay, no, good point. Thank you, Pops. Yeah, and to your point, Pops, is it's kind of funny that as I mentioned, there were some people in the industry who thought that us coming together for CitizenCon was a waste of time and money and resources. And then now when they actually say, we're not going to have a CitizenCon, we're going to put in the time and resources, now there's a problem with not having CitizenCon. So I'm not sure, like Fast Card said, it's, you can't win no matter which way you go. Okay, we got Rabba Hagri back. Rabba, you're back. Hey.
I'm going to tell on the fellas, there was a barbershop discussion going on upstairs about it was an anatomy discussion, and we didn't even know hear the question. So apologies, but
That's okay.
got distracted.
It's okay.
I'll agree with what Pop says. It's very much as much as anything else, there's a huge social aspect for Star Citizen. It's more about hanging out with the fellas and talking nonsense than anything else. Understand, the situation that happened, 2 years ago with that basically shut the world down, and it impacted not just Star Citizen but pretty much everything. So I don't, I accept that. Right. But just repeat the question, because, like I said, they were distracted. I was paying attention, but they were distracted.
Yeah, no problem. Again, he wrote this in response to Chris's letter from the chairman, right? And it was really the way he phrased things. And you touched on one of them. And it was the point of him saying that he thought that COVID was an excuse. And part of my commentary, I wrote back to him, I said, yeah, there were things that came out, they were delayed, but they did deliver those things that they said. It just took a little longer. And I was saying that, businesses, like you just said it, globally, a lot of things got impacted. He wrote it off as that COVID was an excuse. And I'm kind of like, I don't know if you can go that far and say that. I also wrote from some other, when you get a chance to read his article, it'll probably make a little bit more sense too. He also seemed to be, which is one of the problems I have with a lot of the journalists, very few of them write because they went in and tried the game for themselves. They write about what they've heard. They write about what other articles have written. Very seldom do you ever see somebody say, I logged into the game and this is what I saw happen. And that is the thing that bothers me about some of the writers. Back in the day, editorial writers would go in, they'd spend time, gaming writers would spend time, go in the game and talk about, I spent 20 hours in. I'm not expecting them to spend 1,000 hours in, but I spent 15 hours in, 10 hours in trying things. And for him to be tracking the game over a period of time and not evaluate the game based on, because this isn't Chris Neal's first article. If he wanted to talk about where the game is now versus last year versus before COVID, that'd be an argument to have. But that's not the argument he took. His argument was, I read the letter and I pretty much think that Chris is just making an excuse. And he didn't say it because of anything that he saw in the game or gameplay. He just said, it sounds like an excuse to me. And the fact that their management doesn't know how to deal with a work from home environment. I'm like, whoa, where's that coming from? So that was really it. I was just trying to get people's feedback as to what they thought about, Chris Neal's points here that he mentions in his article. Yeah, I know you haven't had a chance to read the whole article.
And not just journalists, but there are content creators who go around to various discords and collect the information and then turn around and use that to present on their forum or in their streams, that as if they have experienced it. When I've watched them, they go and they come in and they start asking questions, specific questions about how things are, how's this, how's that. And then you see their next stream, and they're parroting what they heard.
Wow.
So because of the nature of Star Citizen, I think that, as far as I'm concerned, those that I know actually play have a lot more credibility than those who don't.
Wow. Okay. All right. No, thanks, Robert. That's a good observation. I didn't think about streamers and coming into people's discourse. That's deep. Okay, last one we got here is Kaizen, and then we're going to do our giveaway, gang. So stick around if you're still here. We're going to do that giveaway in just a little bit. Kai, you back?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what you got, man?
So there's two points to this. On the first thing, the original premise of the question of what's on the screen there, I think there is a good 100 games journalists out there. And there's a good 10,000 games urinalists out there where it's like, man, just shut up. You're literally just, your journalism is supposed to be about, you go and learn about a thing.
Investigative, yeah.
You investigate it, you ask hard questions, you get to all the aspects, and then you present that information to your readers, to your watchers, to your followers, to your insert, however people consume your media here.
Right.
And it's supposed to uplift their knowledge on the subject matter and spark conversations, because even as a good journalist, you're not supposed to have a side. You're not supposed to be pro Star Citizen. You're not supposed to be anti Star Citizen. You're supposed to give people information about Star Citizen and let them decide for themselves. And no offense, Chris Neal, but you are a games urinalist. Now to the second point, touching on what Fast Card said about, you know, how bummed he is about the SitCon this year. I get it 100%, and I share his frustration and how bummed he is about it. The one point that I would make with regard to SitCon specifically is that they just had EveCon. They had a week where they were like, we're back. We're doing EveCon this year. CCP, we're doing it. Come to Iceland. We're going to party. It's going to be great. Well, inevitably, what happened was you had a half a dozen people who caught COVID in circulated air in an airplane on the way there. And then they were, you know, you had hundreds and hundreds of people. In the case of SitCon, it would be thousands and thousands of people locked in a small, cramped area. And everybody got COVID. Like 112% of the people that were at Eve Fest this year got COVID. And some of them, a handful of them, have had some very serious health concerns that are happening. So from the standpoint of Chris Roberts being in a position where he has to try to, and CIG as a corporation being in a position where they have to try to be responsible or whatever, to a certain amount, it's like, hey man, if we don't do this, we can spend more time doing this other stuff and we can get good dev work done and we can But take that out of the equation entirely. You do have a certain amount of real people get hurt, and I can understand. I think it's easy for us to gloss over the fact that man would have to carry that. He would have to do, as a human being, he would have to know that he threw a party that maybe got some people dead. And like, that would be a real shitty situation for the community, for the family members and loved ones of those people. And so like, and I get it. Fast Cart's 100% right. Like, God damn, that's a bummer. But like, I think it would be more of a bummer to me if they threw it and then I heard later, oh, Griff passed, or Paul Shelley passed, or you know, what, or even just, you know, 20 people, like 8,000 people got sick, 20 people died. Even if they're not names of anybody you know, that's really sad, man.
And again, there's a level of responsibility for the health reasons that are there. We do have a global community. So you're going to have people who come, because we've been to CitizenCon before. People come from Australia, Germany, UK, Canada, all over the place, right? I just thought it was ironic that he would say that canceling CitizenCon, where before they used to give us grief about having CitizenCon. You know, there's not even a game out and these jokers are already having a convention. You know what I mean? That was just kind of funny to me that when they say, okay, we're not going to do it, we're going to stay focused on getting Squadron 42 out, which is what we want to hear them say, and 100%. Yet there's still somebody still throwing rocks, you know what I mean, in their direction in relation to that. That's just kind of weird to me. But is this
I agree with that point 100%, and that's why I want to be clear. I'm not putting Fast Card in that category. Fast Card's in the category of people who are just, man, I'm bummed. And I get that 100% and agree. I agree 100%. This other guy, the game urinalist, he's at the standpoint of anything CIG does, let's find a way to call it a failure, call it a scam, call it a lie, call it an excuse, his exact words. So like, you know, whatever.
All right. No, that's
and just the guys upstairs wanted me to let you know, oh, you're gonna love the conversation after the show.
Oh my God. Okay.
All right. I'm out.
All right. Thanks, buddy. All right. I got one more. J2's in chat queue. J2, I'm gonna ask that you just kind of make it quick because I do have to be somewhere in 20 minutes and I still have one more thing to do and the giveaway. So but I do want to hear J2's thoughts. J2, you there? J2? J2.
Yes, sir. You
there
got
he
it.
is. Awesome.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
stream delay. I was listening. Oh wow, just totally lost my train of thought.
It's okay.
Yeah,
Take your time.
I'm back. CitizenCon, yeah, it sucks. It's a bummer. CitizenCon, like we were saying, Star Citizen is unique in its social aspect in the community. CitizenCon, I feel like, is a bigger deal for Star Citizen than it would be for some other games. So yeah, not having a CitizenCon the past couple of years now is a bummer. Not having anything this year is a bit more of a bummer. But at the same time, it means them getting the game out that much sooner. So I'll deal with it. As far as this article as a whole, this guy is over the top. Journalism and media in general these days has negativity gets more clicks. Is what it comes down to. So journalists, they look for the negative aspect. They want to report on the most fire and brimstone sort of reporting that they can do, because that's going to get them the most views and ultimately make them the most money.
Can I throw something there real quick, J2? The irony to me to this was also another irony. Almost everybody from the community said that this was the most detailed and informative letter that Chris has written in a long time. So it was kind of funny to me that after all, you know what I mean? It was pages and pages of information. And even when he gives us all that, outside the community can kind of come back and say, this is all, you know what I mean? It just threw me a little bit, because everybody who I talked to said, wow, there's a lot of good. Matter of fact, I need to go back and reread it. There's a lot of stuff in there. And then we get this article as if there wasn't anything there. And I don't know. I just kind of felt weird about it.
Well, see, that's exactly the part I was just getting to, that while I think this guy is completely over the top and just like I said, publishing stuff for negativity, there is some merit in some of what he has to say. I think the biggest example, people see this letter from Chris Roberts, and it was a big detailed letter. It's also like 3 months late. We usually get that letter for the chairman at the end of the year. We're getting it now at the end of the first quarter. So lose a little, it's still a great letter. Lose a little bit of points for the lateness, but there are things in there that I think people sort of glanced over with his in regard to server meshing. Everything they set up to this point with server meshing was to be, pretty much ready by the end of this year. What he said in that letter said that it would be ready for Evocati by the end of this year. And from what they just said about Evocati and what he also said in that letter about the shift in their release schedule and their development cadence. 318 is going to be, he said 318 is going to be in Evocati and PTU for months. So if this is cargo refactor, you got to think server meshing is going to take that much more time. So we were expecting to see server meshing at the end of this year. Evocati will see server meshing at the end of this year. We won't see it for another 3 to 6 months after that.
I don't know, J2. What he said was it's going to be at least he said it would be up to 3 months, right? That we would have 318 as the thing to hang in until they get past that. And he said it could be longer or shorter. So I'm going to just leave it as that, because technically 318 comes out when? End of July, roughly?
It was supposed to. End of July, beginning of June.
So we got 317.2 coming first, then 318, right? And then that puts us into third quarter toward the end of the year for 318. And then after that, we're waiting, which could happen beginning of next year, right? Because you're talking about October, November, December. That's your 3 months. So you're still within this year. And it could come out beginning of next year. Good. 4.0. Good. Am I adding right? Is my math right?
Again, it was a big letter. Maybe I need to go reread it. But for my read, what I took from it was that server meshing and 4.0 would be going into Evocati at the end of this year. So when we would be getting the Q4 patch, that's when this is going into Evocati.
Q4, right? In Q4, right?
Yes.
Fourth quarter, right? October, November, December, right? That's why I said you're right on that time frame, and I said beginning of next year for 4.0.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
What I read in the letter was that was when it was hitting Evocati, not when it was hitting us. So that's my, and given that he also said that 318 is going to be in Evocati and PTU for months, server meshing and 4.0 is a much bigger thing than the cargo refactor that's in 318.
Let me ask a question because okay, I got to go back and reread. I'm going to stop there.
I do too. It also has to do with the streaming tech, and you know, I imagine a lot of what is going to be possible with meshing is going to have to do with the streaming tech. It's, you know, they're sort of two separate things that need to work together, and we're seeing the beginnings of the streaming tech now, and it's been working so far, but it's also there's been some serious hiccups in there. So if they can continue on this pace and they can have the streaming tech ready for the actual server meshing implementation, then maybe it doesn't sit in Evocati as long.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point.
But I didn't read that letter as optimistic as a lot of other people did.
Okay, I got to go back and read it again. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Again, so do I. But you know, from my take, you know. That's my take on the article, is that, you know, the guy's kind of talking like a douchebag, but you know, underneath the crap there might be a little bit of merit there. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. Well, thank you, J2. Appreciate that. You closed us out today. Listen, thank you guys. You guys have shared a lot of good stuff. Normally when we do some of these shows, we do a thing where we do a game recommendation, and I was going to do a game recommendation today. It takes 10 minutes for me to get through this video. Can I finish by 4 o'clock? I think I can. Do you guys want me to do the game recommendation, or do we want me to wait on it? You all let me know. It's somebody say something in chat. Nobody's saying anything. Everybody's debating. Should he do the game recommendation? Okay, maybe I'll save it. Wait. Okay, Fast Card says wait. Okay. All right. Yeah, okay, be on time. Okay, all right, I'll be on time. All right, let's go ahead and do the, thanks, Captain Jones. Let's go ahead and do our giveaway. As I mentioned, the giveaway on this time, normally we just kind of do that random Scrabble thing. But this one, I do these are kind of more of a, you know, like trivia kind of thing. So this question for this is for the Anvil Legionnaire that was donated by Macaque. Known Macaque for a long time, really great guy, and he just was gracious enough to submit this and say, hey, how about doing this for a giveaway? And since we're in the middle of Invictus launch week, I thought this would be great. So here we go. Hello Kitty Adventure Island. Yeah, I know, ODZ. Don't even go there. All right. All right, here we go. So you guys got to put the answer into chat. Mods, please be ready, because there's going to be a lot of weird answers on this. You have to put in 2 answers to this question, 2 answers, and you have to have them both right. And you have to have them both rounded off. I don't need the exact thing, but I need you to round it off correctly, okay? So here we go. First person who puts both answers in, not one answer, you have to put both answers in correctly. If you put both answers in correctly, you win the Legionnaire. All right, here we go. Here we go. What was Star Citizen's original Kickstarter pledge goal, and how much did they reach when it ended? That's the thing. What was Star Citizen's original Kickstarter pledge goal, and how much did they reach when they ended? Okay, the architect has the year right and the month right. Okay, I'm looking for 2 answers now. 2 answers. I gotta have 2 answers, and I'm not gonna say which ones are right until I see both of them. Until I see both of them. All right, my mods are asking me what the right answer is, and I have to tell them because they don't even know what to look for. Alrighty. I still don't see it in there yet. See a lot of numbers in there. Wow, you guys are kind of dancing around it. Okay. Alrighty. All right, I'll give you another 30 seconds on this. 30 seconds on this. Nobody's got it yet. Repeat the question. All right, I'm repeating the question. The question is, what was Star Citizen's original Kickstarter pledge goal, and how much did they make in the end? Okay. All right, about 10 more seconds. Wow. One of the numbers in there is correct. Oh man, I hope my answer's right, because I'm seeing some numbers in here that are making me think twice. Okay, all right, time is up. Let me look through these real quick. My answer may not be your answer, and my answer may not be the right answer. All right, FC, you're saying that that's the right one? Because I need to know for sure, FC. Are you sure? Oh, he says, oh, never mind. All right. The number I have in my head is the number that I'm seeing on the screen now. Somebody got the number I have in my head. All right. So let me give you the numbers I have and why I have them. And you can go visit the Kickstarter page to see this. The original number was $500,000. That was the starting number, $500,000. Malkari, you came in a little bit late, but you're there. The number was 6 million, because they did these goals after that, and it went up to 6 million. So it looks like the winner on this, oh boy, because I asked you guys to round it off, is going to be, who is it? Fast Card, is it Mastyle or Malkari? I need some shouts here. I tell you what, we'll give both of you guys one. Somebody who rounded it out and somebody who got it on the head. Okay, so Mad Style, Melkari, we're gonna give you guys that because you guys were on point for those numbers there for the Kickstarter campaign. So congratulations to both of you guys. We're gonna give you guys a Anvil Legionnaire. So Fast Cart, we got to get a second one out. To you guys, but congratulations, you guys, for hitting that early. Yeah, you know you did, Melkari, but I was kind of hemming and hawing because I had to make sure. And then I remember I said my number may not be, so we're gonna give you both of them. Both of you guys are gonna get that, okay? So congratulations, thank you guys so much for participating in that. That was very cool, very cool. Okay, let's see. But before we go, we're gonna give you guys some updates on what's going on with us. Tomorrow we're gonna be doing our career show on Soul Citizens, and we're going to be talking about the transport career. So if you're into transportation, who got it earlier? Note to self. Okay, I'm hearing two different things. Hang on a second. Fast Car's telling me somebody else got it, and I might have got it wrong. Okay. Yeah, there was somebody else who got it earlier. We missed that. Hold on, guys. Let me make sure. Give me some help here, mods. Yeah, copy that post. You guys just go back and read. I got to let them know now. I can't come back later on and tell them. Hang on a second, guys. Give us 1 second. We're double checking. Admiral, FC, you guys make a decision, please. There's a third person's name that popped in. So guys, give us 1 second here. We're trying to figure this out. They're typing. I know it was. That's why I'm asking Admiral to confirm it. Confirm it. I'm not hearing anything, Admiral. Okay. All right. So it looks like I'm gonna have to do a little flipping here. So the first person you're saying we got it was who? Who's the first person, guys? Type it in for me. Nobody's typing. Now I need names right now for Admiral Kusana. I mean, Fast Car. I don't need the postings to read. I just want to know who it was. Just tell me who it was. All right. Chris Colbert was the first person. Who was next? Was it Mastyle or was it Melkari? And who was next? I know, chat, you all are looking at this too, so maybe you guys can tell us who it was. All three battle to the death. Right, Gecko? Right. ODC says stop the steal. Oh my God. Come on, who's the other person, you guys? All right, and then Melkari. All right, so Mad Style looks like they bumped you out on that one. Okay, so we're gonna go with Chris Colbert and Melkari. Yep. Okay, Fast Cart just confirmed it. So I'm sorry, Mad Style. There were some people that beat you ahead of time. We're sorry we were behind on that. So we're gonna give out 2 of those to you guys. Okay. Really appreciate you guys for the patience for being here and hanging out with us at the end here. But we are going to go ahead and move forward with the show here. Tomorrow, careers transfer. Oh, by the way, you guys make sure you send us your Star Citizen email address so we can send out to you. And we'll get those out to you ASAP. Okay. Everybody's looking at their seats, I know. Tomorrow's our transport show. Please join us tomorrow, 8 p.m. Don't forget also our Soul Talk show on Thursdays. We did move that time till 9 p.m. Eastern now. We're 1 hour earlier on Thursdays, just like this show started 2 hours later. So we hope you can join us on Thursday night. You guys enjoy Invictus this week. Hold on to your money till the very end because we don't know what else is coming out this week. But you know, CIG may surprise us with something. Or just hold on to your money until IAE, whatever the case may be. But thank you for everybody who came in today. Admiral Kusanagi, Fist to Face, J2, Pops, Raba, Kai Zen who stopped in, Cal Roddy who stopped in. Thank you guys for helping me carry the show today. Really appreciate you guys. And hopefully we'll see you guys on tomorrow. But if not, stay safe, take care of yourself. And as always, peace, love, and soul. We'll see you soon. Take care.